Hello and a very warm welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. I'm JP and I'll be your host this evening, folks, as it is just myself. Um, One of the lads are back from Tenerife, but he's on the day job tonight, our good man Ryan. And Big Alan will probably be still in mid-air at the moment on his travels back from Tenerife. So, as we all know, the lads have been over there for the last week and a half or so. So yeah, he'll just need to put up with me tonight. But that's not to worry. I'm pretty sure you're all used to that by now. So as I said, a very good evening to you all. Hope you're all well. Come to some comments, as we all always do before I get right into the chat. Theo Isaac, good evening, pal. Hope you're well. And Jem, very good evening. Ryan M, good evening, fellow hoops and JP. John Boy, 67 Graham, hail troops. And there's the man that I've just mentioned. Evening all, just popping in to say hi on the day job. Good evening, JP and the chat. Straight in there, wee man, like and subscribe all. Love it, man. I love it. That's good to see. Celts 88, good evening. Hope you're well. Aye. Stevie, how you doing, mate? Good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Good evening, Big Barry. Barry's a contributor on the channel. MT commitment. Question, do you think KT improves us next season in attacking sense as much as defensively? What I'll do, Barry, is I'll save that comment and we'll get to that as we kick in, mate, as I'm doing my intros just now. In fact, we'll just start with that now. So we will. So, do you think KT improves us next season in an attacking sense as much as a defensive area? Well, that's quite a good question. For me, improves is all round, both attacking wise and defensively. He's a phenomenal player going forward. He's very good with the ball. I love the way his ability to cross when he gets to the byline. I love the way he flies into tackles, usually about 90 to 100 mile an hour. But yeah, I mean, he's world class. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind. He improves Celtic tenfold, Barry. What do you think? I know you put in a question to me, but I'll flip that back to you, Barry, if you're still watching. What do you think? How do you think he fares next season in this Celtic side? What do you think? Evening, James. How you doing, mate? Thanks for joining us. A few comments coming in regarding KT. Ryan says he improves us in every capacity. Barry, sensational signing for us, especially on a free. You've got to look at that as well. I mean, the free transfer element of that's frightening, in my opinion. It doesn't get any better than that, I'm afraid. It really doesn't. Good evening, Lindsay. Hope you're well, pal. Cheers for tuning in. Yeah, Celtic. He also improves the mentality of the team, and that's a biggie because he'll complement this winning machine that we have at Celtic just now. You know, that strong mindness to go through a full season and try and be the very best you can be every single game you play. I really do believe he's world class, and I think you've just got to look at the handful of teams that have been, looking at him and looking to bring him in. He gives extra cause he's a Tim. No necessarily, but you get that with KT, I think, Stevie, in terms of his makeup as a player. I don't think he necessarily needs to be a Celtic fan for that. I just think that's the way he plays the game. So KT could be a Hibs fan, but he'll play the game the way the way he does, because he's just happy to play. He's dedicated to his job, and I do think. I mean, he was like that when he was playing with Arsenal, and he's not. In my opinion, I don't think he's an Arsenal fan. So I think that's just the way KT plays. That's just his makeup as a player, because he was brought up in a kind of older generation that had a different mindset to the game. Learned them under a guy and Scott Brown. I think recently he talked about that, about Brownie used to coach him at the youth level, and then all of a sudden he became a teammate, you know. And Brownie took him under his wing, and the rest is history, as I say. Monty John 2, evening JP. KT improves us all round going forward and defensively, as long as he can stay clear of injury. I think a lot of Celtic fans seem to be worried about KT and his injury, and his fitness levels. And I think, to be fair, it's quite a reasonable point, because he's one of those players that has went through a period of time where he's broken down. You know, more than once. But I think he's been fit for some time, if I'm being honest. I think he's certainly been in and around Arsenal's squad now and available to play for a certain amount of months. He made his international comeback last night, and I know he came on as a sub, but yeah, and I think everybody was surprised to see the way Scotland shaped up last night, without him, in the team, with him not being in the starting team. So, but yeah, there is no doubt. There's the deal itself is an absolute no-brainer for me. Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, I'll second that, mate. There is no negative on the KT signing for me. We have just about a world-class left back coming to us at peak footballing age. Yeah, 100%, mate. And Neil Lennon has become the Dunfermline manager, and he signed a deal until the end of the season, taking over from Michael Tidser. So he's been announced on a short-term deal until the end of the season. So we'll just need to wait and see how that materialises for him. But one of the big topics I wanted to have a chat with you tonight about, folks, was the surrounding topic of the impact that Daizen Maeda brings to Celtic. I've heard a lot of Celtic fans speak mixed about this. Now, tonight's heading is Daizen, is he bigger for Celtic than Kyogo? There's another bit of, obviously, added to the heading, but we'll get to that. Now, for me, I think Daizen, there's got to be something in this, because when we signed Daizen was a centre forward, and he came from Yokohama Marinos, and he played centre forward for them. When he played for Japan, he played through the middle, and he plays through the middle as a striker. He's came to us, and initially Ange brought him and put him out on the wing, and I think it took him a wee while to adapt to that, because obviously I don't think he was used to playing out there. And I think that he took a bit to bed in that position. But then he started finding his feet, he started scoring goals, he started becoming a part of the team, and And we had a squad back then that, you were taking him off, you could bring Jota on. Jota was then changing over to the other side, but we also had a Maeda then as well. And very seldom did Ange ever play Maeda through the middle because he had Kyogo and he had um, Giacomakis at the beginning. And after Giacomakis left, Ange brought in Big O to sort of replace Giacomakis. And I never really get going for Big O in centre forward position. But you look at Daizen, especially now. I firmly believe, folks, that he is having a bigger effect in the Celtic side than Kyogo was. And I've only witnessed that now since January. Because I don't personally think that we've missed Kyogo at all. I don't think people say to me, JP, we miss him in that game. I don't think we have for the amount of goals that Daizen's brought us since January alone. Now, I know he'd already had a big input in the season with his goals from the wide area. But for me, Daizen, he brings a different type of weapon to Celtic than Kyogo. I've always wondered why Kyogo, I think most of us have, why Kyogo wasn't getting in the Japan team. He's not the same player as Daizen. I think I had this conversation with my dad about this, and I says, you look at Japan's team, Japan have got another 2 or 3 Kyogos. They've only got one Daizen. You look at the work rate Daizen brings and everything he does when he's on the field. I think a big question, folks, would be to ask players who've played against both players and say, if one of the players were to sit out, which one would you prefer it to be? And I have a hunch that most of them would probably say Daizen because he must be dead annoying. I mean, he's got to be one of the most annoying players to play against. You think you've got time on the ball, and you look at Manuel Neuer, once renowned as one of the best goalkeepers ever. And he ran in and took the ball off him, ran round and just narrowly put the ball by the post at Celtic Park. Coming to comments, Stevie. Kyogo has turned up in big moments, especially against them. Yep, he has, mate. 100%. Ryan M. Kyogo on his day is one of the best players in Scottish football has seen since Henrik Larsson, but Maeda has enough ability and drive to carry an entire team. He's absolutely phenomenal and a joy to watch. Yeah. I think the more of the question would be to you guys. Who do you think has more of a bigger presence? Do you think it's Daizen Maeda? Or do you think it's Kyogo? Who do you think have more of a bigger presence at Celtic? My personal thoughts, and I'm the same as you, Ryan. I thought I'm of the Kyogo for me, and I've said it on this channel. Kyogo for me was the best I think I've seen in terms of centre forward since Henrik. If we can keep Daizen for another period of time, a season or two, and he keeps this form going, then I'm afraid I might have to change that opinion. I might need to change that opinion because, like you've just said, Ryan, Daizen seems to carry or seems to have that ability to carry the team. Kyogo had moments in him that he was able to do it here and there, kind of flashes. Daizen seems to be able to do it on a longevity. But a few comments coming in now. Maeda, Daizen, Kyogo by far had more impact, scored more important goals. Yeah, I can see that point of view, Barry. Barry. So good they named you twice, mate. I can see that point of view. I really can. But I've got to say, I was slightly concerned in January uh, when we were losing Kyogo, or when we knew we were losing Kyogo. Slightly concerned. I had every faith in Maeda, and I had every faith in Daizen Maeda to move through the middle. I had a conversation with Big Alan over this, and I says, I think he'll move Maeda through the middle. And Big Alan says, no, don't think he will. And I went, what makes you say that? And he says, he's already says he doesn't want to play Maeda through the middle, or doesn't want to have to play Maeda through the middle. And I says, well, there's every possibility that could still stand. However, you've got to look at Maeda overall as a centre forward. Why? Because, well, you go and look at him for Japan. You don't go and score goals against Germany at World Cups if you've not got much about you in that position, you know. So I don't know. I'm starting to look at Daizen differently now on the Celtic side. Monty John says Kyogo was a tremendous talent, but Maeda is a phenomenal talent. Yeah, I've got to agree with that. I really have got to agree with that. I think when you look, I think as Ryan M says as well, Kyogo, he had moments of genius in him. Daizen seems to have more moments of genius in him. With a versatility to that as well, where he can play out wide and he can also do it through the middle. Pete McLaughlin, I hope Daizen's watching Kyogo's situation and realising the grass isn't always greener. Yeah, there is that. But, I mean, who knows? But they might have different advisors. So, yeah, you might be looking at a situation there and, Kyogo's advisors took him to France. And albeit now, in hindsight, things haven't worked out the way Kyogo would have thought. Kyogo probably never seen that happening before he left, because knowing the player, he would have backed himself, wouldn't he have? He would have been able to back himself to go and flourish. But yeah, as I say, it's this is how much we are blessed, because this is a debate now we're having, isn't it? Who's better? Who makes a bigger impact for Celtic, Daizen or Kyogo? I mean, this is, you talk about the level of quality. This is what we had at our disposal at one time. I know we've still got Daizen, but this is why, again, our recruitment's not bigged up enough for me. You're bringing guys of this ability to our team. What they gave us as Celtic fans, and what we were able to watch. And I mean, the best goal I think I've seen Kyogo score was that lob against Hibs in the League Cup final. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Daizen also pulled off a lob himself at Parkhead against Dundee. Frightening. Absolutely frightening. Celtic, this is why Celtic and the fans are so important to the club, because they love the players that play for the club. And when players come here, they settle very quickly, or almost very quickly. And then you find out about their ability and who they are as people and their culture and everything else, because it doesn't take long for them to form a bond with the Celtic fans. And for me, I feel that these guys are why, us as fans going to games and stuff is why we help these guys flourish, because they come and they see the size of the place, and it's a fanatical fan base. It really, really is, and it's something special. And I think that's why we get the name we get as the best fans in the world. Ryan, Kyogo was unbelievable for Celtic. Some fans don't realise how good a striker he was. Yeah, I mean, tonight's heading, folks, wasn't it, to diss Kyogo's services at Celtic whatsoever. I'm just trying to think of what's the fans' ideas in terms of the two players, because for me, since January, not forever, but since January, I have noticed now, and maybe it's taken for Kyogo to move on. Maybe Daizen wasn't there, he wasn't in that light before because we had a main focal point to the team, a talisman, and Kyogo. But for me now, Daizen's the man. You know, he's the main man now for me. All these guys, Kuhn and Jota and everything, fair enough, quality. But Daizen's the main man. You look at the team lines, if he's not playing, you're going, oh man. You look at the team lines, if Kuhn's not playing, are you saying the same thing? I don't think many he's are, or many he's would. So that's the impact these guys have on you as a fan, because they make you happy when they play. And when they're not playing, you're like, it's the same as Callum McGregor last week at Derby. When every Celtic fan sees he's not playing, after hearing him the day before, being optimistic and, yeah, one more training session and get through that, and hopefully we get onto the Rangers game. He wasn't on the team. I think 99% of the fan base were all deflated when they saw that. And then that panic that I've seen through the last couple of seasons, more than ever, really. That anxiety, things like that, cause, oh, he's not playing. Oh no. And then somebody else steps into the light and they have a good game, or they do well, and they just send that wee reminder to you as a fan to say, look, have faith, keep the faith in the guys that you're supporting, because there's always someone else that's going to come in and be the next hero. Look at Henrik himself. How many was worried about what we were going to do once Larson left? And how many good strikers have we had since? Quality strikers that have brought us good days out as Celtic fans, brought us memories, brought us trophies, brought us windfalls in the bookies, or, different memories that you can think of these individuals. Barry, do you think we will go back into the J League for players? Well, I definitely think it's a good question, mate. I think it's also one of those ones where, for me, there's talent everywhere, mate. And you just look at the guys we've had, albeit a couple of them maybe haven't worked out right, okay. But you look at Kyogo, Daizen, Hatate, Iwata to an extent. He could hold his own. He wasn't the worst. He had more of an impact than guys like Idaguchi or Kobayashi, or so yeah, I would imagine Celtic will need to keep their eyes open. I've just looked today, and Brighton have signed a young South Korean winger. I think he's about 18. Oh boy, 17 or 18. But again, we're looking at Yang. And more recently than not, Yang's now coming into his own. Yang's now starting to show us his quality. The argument's done for me now, folks. Done. I witnessed it firsthand when he came on Sunday last week, albeit we lost the game. But he changed the way Celtic played in that game. Yang was top quality when he came on at the weekend. And being in the stadium and watching that was tremendous. His wee one-touch layoffs, and when he came on, he allowed Celtic to play through the lines. And it was something that we weren't able to do before it. We were finding it tough to do it. Yang was unlocking doors all over the place. He was dragging Yilmaz with him, he was bringing other players in, and he was going by them. He was just eliminating them. You look at Hatate's goal. All that build-up starts with Yang. It's a give and go. Him and Luke McCown, boom, goal. So quick, so forward, it's so quick thinking. But for me now, the argument of, is Yang a good player? It's done. Absolutely done. Done for me anyway. Yang showed me enough to show me that there's a player there. Now we're starting to see how much of a player is there. Because not only is he coming on and making impacts, but he's coming on and creating assists. He's chipping in with a couple of goals here and there as well now. And yeah, he's for me, for me he's every bit. He's going to be worth, what was it? I don't even think it was $1.5 million we paid for Young. Off the top of my head, I don't know. But again, I was looking at this the other day, and that's what I'm saying. You know, he played for South Korea there as well. Yang played for South Korea there, and apparently he got a really good write-up in the press over there with his substitute appearance. I think he came on for the boy that plays at Wolves. So Hang Wee Chan or whatever his name is. So yeah, he's now starting to find his feet. And you don't get a game, you don't get on with South Korea if you've not got something about you, folks. They've got a very up and coming crop of talent, and the Korean FA are expecting big things for them over the next period of time. So yeah, 100%. John Floyd, if Rennes want 3 million, get him back as long as his shoulder's okay. Nope. I'll tell you why. He wanted away, John. He wanted to leave Celtic. So for me, if a player wants to leave Celtic, especially at his age now, there's only a reason why. He's either wanting his last payday, because 9 times out of 10, players that leave Celtic aren't leaving Celtic to go to teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Liverpool, or, you know, they're not going directly to there. You talk about Henrik Larsson many moons ago, and a different talent as well. So for me, the player himself wanted to go. He wanted to leave, and I don't see a way back for Kyogo because of that. I've now got a theory, John, that no, Tommy, I wouldn't take him back, mate, and I'm explaining why. I've now got a theory that I think Kyogo changing his advisors, he changed his recruitment team, his agency and everything else. And I think for some time, Brendan has had to pacify Kyogo. And I think that would have been through his agency to say, listen, from the summer, I mean, and it's a case of, listen, he's on a short window. So he'll be moving on to maybe the next window or whatever, if the right deal comes in. Now, from then, I feel that his agency have been working on a move for him. And Kyogo himself went to Brendan and spoke to Brendan about it and says, yeah, I'm wanting to go. And there's a reason for it. I mean, there's a total reason for that, which I get. I understand he's 30 now. He's gave Celtic 3.5, was it 4 years? He gave Celtic a good service. He's played in a lot of big games, scored a lot of important goals. But there comes a shelf life with players, unfortunately, at clubs, especially at Celtic. And Celtic's model, they got offered 10 million quid, and Celtic were never going to knock that back for his age. Because if Celtic took that gamble and says no in January, me personally, and knowing how the game works now, Celtic don't get that offer in the summer. It would be less. Now, where are we looking at that now and saying Kyogo's made the wrong move? That's neither here nor there. At the terms of negotiations, nobody was to know that Kyogo was going to go there and realistically not get an opportunity. They changed managers pretty quickly, and the new manager obviously doesn't want to play him. So, so bluntly, as you've just says there, Stevie, he wanted away. So, yep, I don't think, and I think I saw Plungy's comment there, Brendan won't take Furuhashi back. I don't think he would either. I don't think he would look at that and take him back. People might say to me, JP, what about Jota then? Jota didn't want away during the season. Jota left in the summer. A different circumstance as well. Jota was never ever going to knock back the money opportunity that he was given in terms of his wages and everything else. Albeit it's not worked out for him. Right? But again, in the midst of that deal, Celtic offered 25 million quid for Jota. Celtic got a big decision to make there. And for me, Celtic aren't going to knock that back. So, no. I feel the Jota thing's a different circumstance. So, for me, it was a no-brainer to sign Jota back. Again, because his age, he's 25. He's certainly a lot younger than Kyogo. And there's more of a... Moving forward after this season, for me, there's more of a sell-on with Jota than what there would have been with Kyogo, because I don't think Celtic get 10 million, even in the summer. If Celtic would have played hardball, it says, no, you're not moving on, and kept Kyogo now to the end of the season, I don't think Celtic got offered 10 million quid in the summer for Kyogo. Because people look at his age, and I know people might say to me, 30's no old in football. It is when you're doing football negotiations, though. That is 100% it is. It makes a big difference. Massive difference. Good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Cheers for joining us on a Friday night. Edward Driver says the wee man's been really unfortunate. I wish him all the best. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, you know, but you've got to, for me, there's a mitigating circumstances here, right? For me, I don't know what his advisors had told him. I don't know what he'd been told. You've got to look at it that way as well. Now, for me, he must have thought he was going to get a game. He's got to have thought he was going to get a game. Got to have. Because at the point when he was still at Celtic, Celtic are still going for the treble. And they were still in the Champions League as well. Rennes weren't in any of that. Nothing. They were actually down the bottom end of the French League One, probably fighting for their lives. So you've got to look at that. In my opinion, that was a crazy move for Kyogo. I understand why he did it, because it was financial gain. It wasn't because he wanted to win trophies. But he did it to try and get international recognition. Now, this is where people are confused slightly. And they say, JP, Daizen plays in Scotland and gets international recognition. Yeah, he does. But as I've said before, Japan have another 2 Kyogos in their team that they can pick from. They don't have another Daizen that they can pick from. So that's why Daizen's always going to get picked in there ahead of Kyogo. Because for me, he does more. He does more than Kyogo. In terms of his running power, his speed, the way he closes people down. Kyogo done that in abundance, don't get me wrong, the chasing, the high press and everything else. But Japan have got other players in there that can do that. Daizen's versatile. Daizen can play wide for Japan and still be effective. I don't think Kyogo can, personally. I don't think he can. So for me, it's different. It's a different thing. But he left, and that's what he tried to leave for, international recognition. How you doing, Scott? Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Barry. The Jota thing was totally different. Totally different. Jota left us after winning the treble in the summer. Jota didn't leave us mid-season, still chasing a treble, and still had Champions League football to play. But as you just said there, mate, life-changing money at his age, I can understand why he did it. To have an opportunity to do it. And was Man City interest real? Yeah, mate, it was. Yeah. Albeit he probably was going to be a squad player. But yeah, it was 100% legit, mate. Yep. Yeah, it was. And when that never materialised, I think his agency were a bit deflated by it. Because I think they had seen pound signs and thought, yes, here we go. Get him into the City group and get him going there. And yeah. But again, I think in the end, Man City weren't going to pay that money for him. I think it was about 10 million mark then as well. And then Rennes came in and obviously they done it then. I wouldn't say he was desperate, Plunge. I wouldn't say he was desperate, but he did want to leave. I don't think there was any desperation in Kyogo in order to leave. But I can also understand why he wanted to leave, because again, he's getting on a bit in age and it must be so hard because unfortunately, I've said this millions of times, folks. We at Scottish football, unfortunately, do not have a brand in order to hold players so long. You're lucky you get a season or two out of them, then they look to move on because the competition isn't as good. It's not seen as one of the best leagues in the world. Now, for us, it's all we know. I mean, we all love it and we all wax lyrical about it. But there must be only so many times you can win a Scottish Cup, win the league, win a League Cup. And even to a point, the only carrot you've left to bargain with when you're signing players is the Champions League. But up until a few seasons ago, that wasn't even a gimme coming to Celtic. Because before that, it was Europa League. So, I think that's now... What's that? 2 with Brendan. Is it 3 in a row? We've been in the Champions League 3 years in a row. Or is it 4? Well, it'll be 4 this summer, won't it? If we get through again. So 4 years in a row is a massive feat for Celtic in order to what Celtic are looking to do longer term with the club, etc. 4 years in a row in the Champions League is massive, guys, because again, that's probably why Celtic are sitting. A massive reason as to why Celtic are sitting with what they've got in the bank. Between that and the player trading model. And again, I'm mentioning that again because I don't think it's talked about enough. Celtic fans seem to turn on the board whenever things don't happen or whenever things aren't happening well, but don't recognise the way Celtic are run as a football club. It doesn't seem to get mentioned enough for me. Celtic's football, the at board level, is ran elitely, and they've got guys working at the club that are good on their job, and they know how to keep the club above board. All you need to do is look just across the water. If you want to get a big, a big example for you of how to mismanage a club and not to run your club well. I mean, they don't even have an infrastructure. They don't even have a player recruitment model. They're now starting to try and copy Celtic. But Celtic, this took years. And it's took Celtic years. Celtic had to take millions of hits all across, not winning the league and maybe losing out trophies and not doing so well in Europe, and not doing this and not doing that. And we're now starting to see Celtic's, the way Celtic want to go about things. I believe this new format in Europe will help teams like Celtic to do well. Because the games that you're playing against, you only play the team once. And they're like cup finals. So there's a chance you might get an opportunity to get a result or two. And it can give you things like the playoff. And I mean, that was 10 matches Celtic played there in the Champions League alone. That's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Stevie, what makes you say that, mate? And obviously, you're entitled to your own opinion, but what's making you say that, mate? That the board are, I like that, but and what meaning are you meaning that way? Like what is it you're not happy with? What would you prefer? If you're not liking what's going on just now, what would you like to see done differently? And that's an open question, by the way, to all. If you're not happy with what's going on at the club just now, then what would you like to see differently? James, 100%, mate. 100%. For me, you can't take anything for granted at all. Nothing. In football. I've said on this channel millions of times, hardest thing to do in football is to win. To win. Right, so here, plunge, here you go. A board with ambition. If your board didn't have ambition, would the club be sitting where we are just now, plunge? So if the board have not got ambition, would the club be sitting where they are just now? On every sort of capacity, not just a financial term or anything else. Because for me, that comes with a forward-thinking board, you know. So more money spent on players. So in terms of the players that are buying, what is it you're not happy with? What is it you're not happy with? Bearing in mind in the summer there, Stevie, we broke our transfer record twice in the same window for Maeda and Arnie Engels. We then bidded another £9 million for David Sterlik, who's at Slovan Bratislava, in January, to bring him in, and his club withheld that request and allowed the deal to fall through. So that wasn't to to do with Celtic. And the money that was, the money that was there and offered, in my opinion, £9 million a lot of money for a Scottish team to pay out for any player whatsoever. And the lad, Celtic, that's a big fee, because everybody's thinking to himself, when we had to go all out and spend big money to replace a guy like Kyogo. So 100% need a striker. I would prefer Fitzgerald and Celtic, to be honest. Yeah, that's fine, mate. Yeah. Again, obviously the goalposts were moved on the Fitzgerald one. I think Celtic bidded £10 million for him, and they moved the goalposts on that, and they wanted 14. Or they wanted the deal to be topped up to 14. And Celtic were like, no, well, hold on a minute. We negotiated one thing and then yous have done another. Again, everybody's got to remember when the club do negotiations, and the clubs you're dealing with, it's not just, deal doesn't just happen because it's Celtic. It's not Celtic's fault for every deal to not materialise or deals to fall through. There's another side to that as well. You've got to look at the clubs that you're dealing with. They might withhold the player or stop the player from going, or they can delay things to an extent where Celtic might want to move on. Because Celtic have never done that. They've always moved on to the next guy pretty quickly. That's what happens when you're doing recruitment and you're trying to get players in for certain type of positions and everything else. But the board don't get enough credit for me. Nowhere near it, man. The supporters treated as consumers. Stevie, you're also rewarded as a Celtic fan, mate. And you're rewarded by the amount of trophies that Celtic have won over the last decade, mate. Many days out as a Celtic fan have you had that you can remember where Celtic have won a cup final, or they've beat that mob across the water, or they've had a good result in the Champions League, the 0-0 draw at Atalanta. And Celtic have they've brought a lot of happiness to you as a fan, mate, through the years. I remember when Celtic won the winning trophies, mate. How did you think the support were feeling then? I remember when Celtic they weren't the top team in this country. And we were always chasing the top team in this country at the time, was the old Rangers. Albeit we didn't know then Govan was a tax haven. But I've got them memories. And again, everybody's got their own right to have their opinions and everything else. Yeah, we did, Scott, and that's the thing, mate. That's the thing for me, that with the Celtic fans, they've always been there. They've always shown the support. There's been a lot of fans walked away. I know I could name 5 guys in there that have all done it, or chucked their book, just because they're not happy. We went through managers like Tony Mowbray, Lou McCarry, Liam Brady. I remember Brady's. Absolute torture. And it was deflating. It was deflating as a Celtic fan, a way back then. You were turning up at games thinking that Aberdeen and Dundee United were going to turn you. So, it's not so long ago Celtic won the top dogs, and they never had the the big transfer kitty to play with, or they never had the net profit that this club have got now. I mean, for a Scottish club to have the amount of money that Celtic have got sitting in their bank account alone is it's just it's extraordinary, man. Absolutely extraordinary. Yeah, Stevie, we didn't know anything else apart from disappointment. Now look at us. The norm for Celtic now has been going for trebles. And the man that made that possible was Brendan Rodgers. He made that become the norm. So think of all the disappointment that you've had as a fan, and now think of all the raw emotion of watching Celtic lift trophies, of being on podiums and lifting up trophies. That's now taken for granted, especially the younger generation, because they've not seen Celtic lose, and they're not used to seeing it. They're not used to seeing Celtic not winning, or not winning a trophy, or not being on the podium, and sitting second, even sitting second in the league. This current day of youth that's there now, all they know is Celtic winning. My son's nearly 7 years of age, and he's never known Celtic not to win. Anytime he hears me talking about Celtic, and my son's not really a big football fan or anything yet, but anytime he hears me talking about Celtic, they're always winning this, or they're doing that, or I'm going to a cup final day out, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing... And that's what he'll come away with to his mum and his grands and his grandpas and everybody else that he speaks to, even people in his school. My daddy was away seeing Celtic in the cup final. He was away seeing Celtic beating Rangers. He was away seeing, obviously not last week, but it's that's what they do. That's what they do. And aye, as I say, I mean it's taken for granted now that Celtic are going to win. And Celtics are probably masters of their own downfall at times with the expectations of the support, because what they're giving us now, like I says, has become the norm. Red Scotland, I'm not even listening. My wee boys, he's my wee boy's his own man. He will be his own man, and he's got his own mind, mate. So I'll never force him to do anything. It's different now, and than it was when maybe I was younger. Because when I was younger, you kind of didn't get a choice, because your dad and your uncle and their pals and all the circle of people you went about in, they were all Celtic fans. So it's not until you actually go and do your own due diligence, you start getting older and educate yourself, and then you realise you understand, you make up your own mind, and you then start to see what Celtic stand for, and you go to the games, and it just grabs a hold of you, and you hear about the rivalry, and then you learn about the rivalry, and you see it. You see it firsthand. I remember my dad took me, I was in the old jungle. What a phenomenal experience that was. Great, man. Some of the best memories ever being a Celtic fan. My earliest memory of Celtic fan was Paul McStay, and he was young then. Probably one of my earliest memories of really being into football at the time, and playing football and talking about it, and being right into it with my mates and stuff like that from school, and run about where I stayed. And the game Rafe Rovers beat us in the cup final, Paul McStay missed the penalty. And that's the reason I got into football, Paul McStay. And I actually tried to model a bit of my game on Paul. the way I played. My dad's watching us and he'll probably comment in a minute or two saying, what the fuck happened to you? But no, I tried to actually model a bit of my game on Paul and watch the way he grabbed the hoddy games and he could take control of games even then. And his vision and just he was a different player. And for me, he's the greatest ever that I remember watching playing for Celtic. People go Larson, JP, and I go, aye, for different reasons. But Paul McStay, when you go and you've seen Paul in the flesh, it's wow, man. Frightening. Absolutely frightening. And I've said to Ryan, it's just a shame that he's over in Australia. Because I would love to try and get him on here to talk to him about football. I just love to hear his stories. Who knows, he might be watching this. I hope he is. If he is, Paul, give us a shout. But I'd love to get him on. Del, I'm not sending you the link, mate. I'm nearly finished, and it's not a dial-in. The dial-in's a Monday night, mate. So if you want to come on, get yourself on the Monday nights. But cheers for the interest. He was different gravy, Scott. He was different gravy. Right, folks. Obviously, over the last couple of days, before I finish up, there's been a bit of transfer chat. Our good man, Mr. William Glavin, if any of you are on Twitter, please give him a follow. He puts up some really good stuff through his, through tactics work, and the lot of you will probably know William for being on this channel with us doing the kind of tactical breakdowns of the opposition we were playing against in the Champions League, and the way teams set up against us, and the way Celtic would look to set up against them, and do that. But William put up a great thing today that Celtic are still looking to land the services of the Norwegian striker. Well, he said striker, but he's actually a winger, wing forward, Sondre Osagester. And William goes right into detail of what type of player he is. And thank you, Red. Cheers for tuning in tonight, pal. Have a lovely weekend, pal. Take it easy. You look at the what I was saying there about William, folks, was you look at the detail William gives you on an individual. And I don't know, there's something really, really exciting about this fella. Celtic were strongly linked with the lad in January. And I remember hearing, I think it was William actually told us, I'm not sure, Pat, I don't know, mate. It could very well be. Yeah, it could very well be. We need, in my opinion, we need to sign a lad if he's as good as what's been said. Now, unfortunately, I'm not privy to what's going on in Norway or, over there. I've just seen video evidence of the lad. And he looks very exciting. Very exciting. And I feel personally that Celtic need to sign him. Now, if has anybody in the comments at all seen the lad or seen anything about this lad or suggester, or because at the time, Pat, I thought that listen, that could very well be the the case. That could very well be the case. Kuhn could be off. Now, who's to say that Nicholas Kuhn might not leave Celtic in the summer? That could happen. But again, the money will need to be right, I'd imagine, for that to happen. But yeah, Kuhn's off. All suggested to come in. Yeah, I mean, listen, that could be a possibility. Um, we we need to look at the options of what's going to happen in the summer. I understand in the January window, what held it up and what scuppered it from happening in January was the latency of Lewis Palmer exiting. That's what changed. You know, that's what changed in the January window for that deal to happen. I do think that if Celtic are still keen on the lad in the next window, you tend to find, Celtic have chased this lad for a while, not just one or two windows. I'd imagine Celtic have been onto this fella for quite some time. He is young as well. And he's got everything going for him. I mean, he's dynamic. He travels with the ball at speed. And yeah, as I say, it's a no-brainer of a signing. There's another one I think I've just seen as well. The big lad from France, Sidibe. Khalidou Sidibe, I think his name is. I think he plays with Guingamp in France. He's 26 years of age, but he's about 6'9" or 6'7" or something. And he's ultimately a central defensive midfielder. Now, where this gets confusing is I read the link the other day and it says something about Jeffrey Sloop not staying and this lad would be coming in to replace him. That's where it gets confusing for me, folks. Because Jeffrey Sloop's not we don't play Jeffrey Sloop in central mid. We play him at left back. So this lad's a natural defensive midfielder. Powerhouse. So that's where that sort of got me. Again, it's one of those ones because there was I think it was an African outlet that said Celtic have already bidded €2 million for him. I don't know, Lanky, I don't know, mate, because he's not really a defensive mid for me. So I don't really know what to make of that. I don't think that would be a direct replacement for Atati. He's more like a number 8 to a 10. This lad's naturally a number 6. And he looks absolutely ginormous. He looks like a monster. I've actually just noticed that we've got a tourist in tonight. It's nice of you to join us, pal. Don't worry about it. I mean, I try and tune into things like Real Madrid's forums and Barcelona forums as well. I like to know what big teams are doing as well. So you're not alone there, pal. But aye, as I say, it's the eyes if you're still gaming you, just staying your nosy to see what's going on. I get it. I can understand that. It's fine. Fair enough. And it must be cold outside. Must be cold outside because I had to put the heating on earlier. Somebody says it's minus 13. That's bitter. That's really cold. Really, really cold. I've got the radiator behind me here. Had to put it up so that I'm not having to wear a hoodie or anything tonight. I had one looked at as well. Here it's here. That'll show you. It's for yourself, Sean. It joined us tonight, mate. I had a nice wee hoodie look to it as well. I was going to wear it. I was going to put it on, but I just decided not to turn this baby up. That way I'd be warm. I'd just sit here in my comforty short sleeve t-shirt. But no. So that's it tonight, folks. I'm sorry I wasn't on Wednesday. I was going to come on Wednesday, but due to circumstances, I had to cancel the podcast. So I wasn't going to let you do tonight. But as I said earlier, we do a dial-in on Monday nights. If anybody wants a link, they are more than welcome to get it for a Monday. That's why we hold that show. I do think we've got you, Toby, our good man for East End Community Radio, is joining us on Monday night. So I'm going to contact Toby at East End Community Radio and find out if that's still a goer. Scott, same with yourself, pal. If you've got time, you want to join us again on Monday, mate, you're more than welcome. Hopefully we'll get Francis back in. No, we won't. Francis is away. He's away. He's 2-week holiday. Good man, Francis is away to Gran Canaria. Probably player the Ingles he's away to. he's away with his boys. He's away on a boys trip, apparently. It's definitely a player the Ingles he's away to. That's for sure. I'm only joking. I don't know where he's away to. I'm only kidding. But yeah, as I said, if anybody wants to join us on Monday, you're more than welcome. You can contact us on the page, any one of our platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the YouTube community on the channel, and the TikTok. We've got a TikTok page as well. You can do that as well. And same again, folks. I mean, if you don't want to come on and chat with us live, you are more than welcome to do what our good man, Mr. Alec Beveridge, who's also the sponsor of the channel, EB Entertainment, and the good man John Clifford. He's joined us as well, and what they've done is they've sent us a wee video. Now, I've said before that we wouldn't be against that at all for any one of you to send us a video. Try and cap it to just under 2 minutes if you can. And any thoughts about Celtic, anything at all, just send us it. We can have a look at it, and we'll play it during the show. So yeah, if you want to do that. I mean, a lot of folk don't like speaking live. A lot of folk can't do it due to nervousness, or people might be a bit camera shy, and that's fine. Listen, totally respect that. Believe it or not, Ryan's very camera shy. He doesn't do well on a camera, which is why he wears all the mad hoodies that he wears and everything else. It's nerves. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. That's why he's got me on with him, to make sure everything's all right and everything goes quite smoothly. But Kaiser, the yeah, to be fair, Plunge, I don't want to. I also don't want to bring that up, mate. It's probably meant to the point why you've not come back on. oh, you set that one up for me, mate. That's why you've no come back on. But Aye, like you says, mate, that's the truth, mate. Um, some more to the inside than outside, to be fair. Um, but aye, as I say, it's it's not for everybody. We get that, but when me, like I'll say again, when we initially set that channel up, we initially set that episode up on a Monday night. It was to give the fans a chance to come in and chat with us and give their thoughts on match day or things that are going on with the club or things that are happening. And we get it, a lot of people don't like, but you don't need to come on in the camera. You can leave your camera off and it's just the audio we would hear. We wouldn't we wouldn't we wouldn't see your face, obviously. We would just hear you. And I get it, a lot of people might not want to um, you know, they might not want to speak live on a platform. People become nervous, and that's fine. We totally get it. That's why we came up with a set. The the suggestion that you could do a video and send the video to us, so that you're not having to do it's not live. You've recorded something and sent it in. And again, you don't need to be on camera. You can do it in an audio version where it's just you. Well, there you go, Plunge. So why have you no phoned in this channel? If you phone Super Scoreboard, you only get to be on audio with them. So why have you never done the dial-in then? There's a question for you. That might be your homework for the weekend to have a think about, mate. G-Doc, I'm not too sure people would pay money to see that, pal. I really don't. No, I don't know. Don't know if that's possible, mate. I don't know if that's possible. Sitting talking about football or sitting take my kit off. I'm not really too sure. I don't think people would want to see the latter, I'm afraid. But Ryan does his own show at 10:30, mate. If you're interested, if that's what you're saying, if that's your thing, then fair dues, pal. You could be if I ever think about doing it, mate, I'll make sure that you're my first sub. I'll do you a half price deal on your subscription, right? So as I said, Plunge. No, you came on. No, you never. You came on and you came on through your camera. You came on. You had your camera on. You didn't do your audio. It's not that we couldn't hear you. We heard about a million different things going on in your house at the one time. You think you were live at Blackpool Pleasure Beach that night? That wasn't your house. The only thing we couldn't hear was a laughing clown in the background. But no, it's not that we couldn't hear you, mate. We heard everything else apart from you. We definitely heard everything else. Your house was going like a fair. I was certainly wouldn't have liked to see your lucky ball that month. the guy that came on after he was like, where'd he get a light bulb for Wembley? Oh dear, dearie me. But Kaiser, I wouldn't even go on that, mate. I definitely wouldn't even go on that. I wouldn't attempt to either, to be fair. I definitely wouldn't try. But no, as I say, that's all I've got time for tonight, folks. Have yourself a lovely weekend. Good luck to Scotland. Great win for us last night away from home in Greece. Another game coming up on Sunday for the Scots, and then we're back to league business with Celtic next Saturday, a week tomorrow. We play Hibs, and looking for us to get back to winning ways after the Derby defeat. But thank you, everybody that's joined me tonight. I do appreciate it. I know it's no easy. It's a Friday night. Loads of people are busy. It's the start of the weekend for folks. So, Dale, sorry, mate. That's not how we roll now. It's not how we roll on a Friday, mate. The link gets dished out on a Monday, I'm afraid. But God loves a trier, as they say. And aye, so take it easy, folks. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you all again on Monday for a Daizen. Hail, hail.